Okay, so welcome back everybody, Tectonic Hobbies, Rico, Greg. What we're doing is the second video in the series where we were working our way through the Kyosho cars. As you can see here, this is now the MP10 Readyset, which is the next stage on from the Neo, which Rico beat the living
daylights out of
at the track, which is there. We'll look at that in a minute, and have a damage report, and I'll blame him for things that I did, and we'll go on from there. This one is the next stage along, and this one's got much more of a race heritage than the previous one. So just having a quick look at the box, we've got all anodized bits and pieces, which is sexy. We've got I think it's the same engine, it's the KE21, same engine. It's just a good engine, isn't it? Yeah, it just runs.
It's an all-round engine, basically.
Yes.
Because you can bash it and you can race it.
Which is great. So, this one, Rico, let's do a little overview of what we've got. It's got much sexier tyres. These tyres are clearly much more race-inspired. It's got an easier breathing air filter and I think the body shell looks similar.
Different.
Oh, is it different? Okay.
Yeah, there's the shape at the back is different. It's actually goes down more.
Advanced aerodynamics.
Yeah.
Do you like advanced aerodynamics? Let's pull this one out, Rico. Off you go, mate.
Okay.
I'll take the old one here and we can do a side by side. So Rico's going to have a look at the remote side by side first.
Yeah.
Are they the same? No, they're not the same.
First off, bits box, you get your wrenches and zip ties for running in, and I'm pretty sure there would be a little plastic doohickey. Yep, the run-in choke is there as well.
And I noticed with interest that this is a much more free-flowing air filter, which would require oiling than the completely enclosed one, but we'll come back to that in a minute.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello. We've got a very different setup here. Can we find a camera that can...
Okay, so the one with the red grip is
which feels very nice in the hand and shouldn't slip out, apparently.
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. It feels really nice. So, good standard radio. Wheels offset, so that actually plays into how you hold it. So this one here's got all the buttons on top. Yep, lights are sucky. And this one here's got an LCD display with a couple of adjustable throttle trim and steering trim on the wheel side.
Let's check the functionality. It sounded like I knew what I was talking about.
Yes, it did. But yeah, it's got a push button and a little scrolly wheelie with a back button as well.
These instructions seem a little bit more involved, a little bit more detailed than the previous ones. Okay, so you've got lots of different sexy functions. It tells you what voltage the batteries and the transmitter are running at.
Oh, really?
You've got endpoint adjustment, which is good because that's what I felt we were struggling with on the last one. You've got dual rate, which is similar, but yeah, I much prefer proper EPA endpoint adjustment. So this is a much more sort of race-inspired radio than the RTR one that comes with the Neo.
Yeah.
Gives you all the build instructions so you can rebuild it nicely.
And setup guide for it as well.
Yeah, like a quick start guide.
Yeah, so it tells you all about the remote. Yeah.
Nice.
It's straightforward. It even gives you an overview of the receiver as well, so that's good.
In the previous video and just then, Rico referred to the fact that the wheel on these transmitters, and it's the same, same on the new one, is offset. And originally, I thought that was a bit sort of weird because you can't drive it with one hand or any of that sort of stuff. And then I drove it and I realized that when you naturally hold the transmitter like this, your right hand, your wrist naturally drops into sort of this kind of like slightly downward position, and it's so much more comfortable because if you imagine that was around straight, your wrist is going to be kinked back all the time when you're driving, because the really high-end remotes have got like a movable position on the wheel. They've actually designed this so that your wrist is completely relaxed when you're driving, which is awesome because that's the first time that I've actually noticed that. Let's do a side-by-sider then. That, I've got to say, that MP10 Readyset car. This one that we're reviewing now looks so good.
Oh, the stuff's out of the way. Okay, so.
All right, so side-by-side comparison. You should be able to see from the overhead camera view what we're looking at. This is the Neo with a little bit of a war wound. Now, I looked this up yesterday because I wanted to replace this head.
Yep.
And it's like $50. Alrighty then.
Actually, I think the wing is different as well.
Yes, the wing is definitely different. There's a lot more downforce going to be given from that wing.
So
the wing mount is different. The wing mount looks a lot stronger on the new one.
Yeah.
Well, it's not new, just upgraded one. And look how thick the shock tower is at the rear there. Is that 4mm? Oh no, it's recessed. But look, because that's much thinner on this one.
No, it's not recessed, it's just one piece. It's like one chunky piece of aluminium.
Quite a bit stronger then.
Yeah.
Anodized aluminium shock bodies instead of plastic. Okay. Drive shafts look the same.
The suspension arms appear to be the same.
No, they're different. Look, these ones are straight filled in stiff, and these ones have got.
You're
talking about camber links.
Camber links, yeah, as you said, the
lower A arms.
Yeah, lower A arms are filled in, so that's going to be a lot more stiff. We also have sway bars front and rear.
Yes, now we're talking.
Which makes this a lot more stable, I do believe, in the corners.
It means it's a lot more tunable. So if you're pushing the front into a corner and you want to change the characteristics of the way the car handles, you can thicken or thinnen. Is thinner the word?
Loosen.
Step down. Put a thinner one on, and that will make it less, either give you more or less grip and help you balance the front to the rear of the car. All this stuff gets a bit technical, but suffice it to say that if you get to the point where you've driven this one and you reach the limits of where you think it would be able to take you, this one has got a lot more tunable options on it. Now, it's the same engine, it's the KE21. This one's got a full sexy chromy EFRA tune pipe on it, whereas this one has got just the standard sort of cast aluminium pipe on it. That's the first thing I've noticed.
Which is going to do you just fine when you're starting out, and then when you move up.
Ooh, those are different servos. They are KS501-09MW. I will put on the screen what the spec is of the new servos, because we still haven't been clever enough to work that out before we film the video.
The brakes, front and rear
disc brakes.
That's the word, disc brakes. And the the electronics side is a little bit different as well.
Yes, it is. That's interesting.
Yep. So you got obviously this will be your battery box, and that will be your receiver box.
That seems to be likely. Yeah. So this is going to be designed for a proper receiver pack rather than a battery box, like we talked about in the previous video, I think.
Also, the shaft, that I know we're moving around a bit, but it's just we're noticing different things. So
chassis is different.
Chassis might be different, but I was referring to the guard here. The plastic actually goes all the way to the front.
Yeah.
And this one here is cut out.
Yeah.
So in theory, some of the dirt mightn't get inside all your stuffs.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good pickup.
Yeah.
We've got droop screws on this one, whereas we haven't on the standard one. So this is, again, another tuning aid. You've got nice droop screws adjustments, so you can set how far the suspension travels back downward when the car, say, jumps or the weight is lifted off the car. And that makes a big difference to, again, that's another tuning aid handling characteristic. I've got to say, and I know I bitched about this in the last one,
oh God.
why haven't we got Hex hardware, Kyosho?
All fingerprints will be removed.
Well, we got it upside down. Yeah, the front arms are different as well.
Yeah.
Actually, completely different. And so is the front suspension mount. It's all completely different.
But I said this one here is cut differently as well, because this doesn't have to.
So you've got this here, whereas this one
it's probably different.
is hidden in there.
Yeah.
And interestingly, that hinge pin is just about to fall out on this one. Good to know.
Oh, good.
See?
Yeah. Excellent.
So now we know that. Sounds like this car needs a strip down, which we'll do.
We'll strip it down, make it work again.
Yeah, we will strip it down and make it working. I much prefer the fuel tank on the new one, on the slightly upgraded one. Let's look at the tyres.
Standard tyre. Comes with the Neo 3. This is the tyre we ran at the racetrack, which is a, what is it, medium? Soft or something like that?
It's an M3 Pro line, so it would be yeah,
soft.
So, yeah.
So super not what you call it, knobby off-road tyres. The MP10 has got like a combination between these two tyres on its tyre.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit firmer, and it's a weird type of pattern that I don't mind at all.
I'm putting that back because my arm is there.
Oh, poor schnockens.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how that.
Bad.
I'd be interested to see how that performs. Depends. I suppose it just depends what surface you're going to run it on.
Yeah.
Wheelbase is the same.
So I guess this is going to be a middle ground tyre.
Yeah, I reckon because this is more race orientated than this. I think that what they would do is give you a tyre that you can run the thing in on without it wearing out, and then they probably expect you to put the tyres on for the surface that you are racing on or driving on. Yeah, I've also just noticed that it's got a different Ackerman plate on it, which is interesting, which is going to give you different geometry at the front. It's got different uprights at the front, which are guarded, but also I don't know what angle they would be at, probably 19 degrees, something like that on this one, and these ones are more or less upright, which is interesting.
Name by the looks of it. These tyres here are actually called K-blocks.
Kyosho K-blocks.
Yeah. With a Z.
Where the hell's the Z? Oh, blocks.
Blocks.
Blocks. With an X, you mean?
Yeah, an X, whatever. English.
It's English isn't your first language, is it, to be fair?
Nope.
What is your first language?
German.
Can you speak fluent German?
Yes.
That's cool. There you go, learn something every day. We've got a German-speaking employee in the house.
Yes, we do.
Das ist das.
Oh, God. What else should we go over? The chassis brace are plastic, as they are on this one here. Slightly different design. Yeah.
And I reckon if you put that in the hands of someone who knew what they were doing, with a set of sway bars on it with the option bars so they could tune it depending on what the track surface was, a decent set of tyres, I reckon someone could put some half decent lap times in with that. Now, I'm just looking. See these collars here?
Yes.
What are they? They're completely. So the hinge pins are mounted completely differently on that one.
Yeah. So that's a collar with a grub screw?
Yeah, with a real thin bar. I reckon that's like a 3mm or maybe 3mm hinge pin. Whereas that one looks much
5mm.
Yeah, much sturdier.
But if you look at the rear as well, you've got your adjustments for your toes.
Yeah, these are so. Yes, your toe at the rear is fixed on the Neo, whereas this has got adjustability and they're numbered, so you would then be able to change your rear toe angle. Few final points. We've noticed that the ring gear on the diff in the center of this one is metal. I don't know if you can see that very readily. Whereas this one's plastic. We've also noticed, or Rico noticed, that there is a larger opening in the chassis on this model, on the more race-inspired model, so that you could use a starter box if you decided to do away with the pull start mechanism. So just generally, as an overall summary, I'd say this car, the Neo, has weaker components in some areas, like the shock towers, the hinge pins, the center diff gear. It's got a few things missing. It's got no sway bars, no droop adjustment, plastic shock bodies, whereas everything on this is much more geared towards being much tougher for unit. And the next obvious upgrade which is the third iteration in our series, which is coming soon, will be the full race spec version of this car, which comes as a kit and you have to build it, and then you can put your own engine in it. And that, I think, would be the biggest upgrade to any of these cars, will be then to chuck a race ready motor in it, which we'll talk about in the next video. So I, again, hope you found this informative. We'll be doing the third video in the series, which will cover the full race spec buggy. But until then, cheers guys.